Insight number 5, being a misfit is a good thing. Your suffering is the solution. So given how terrible our culture is, anyone who doesn't fit is more likely to have what we need. And misfits are likely to suffer. And as a result of suffering, they're going to be motivated to have compassion, self-awareness, and motivated to escape from bad habits that we all have because we've been trained up by the culture that I've been describing. Here's the thing I want to say. The lucky are rare and the unlucky are rare. I mean, statistically, you just look at this normal curve and it's like people who are lucky, they have something that's rare that we need to hear because everybody has a piece of the truth, and that includes the people in the middle, but the lucky and the unlucky have something that very few people understand. So to know reality, we have to listen to both. But we mainly hear from the lucky. And here's the reason. Here's 2 reasons why. First of all, what they're saying is pleasant to hear. We like what they're saying. Oh, the world's good. Life is good. And the second reason is because they have the resources to promote what they're saying. And so what happens then with those 2 things is their voice gets amplified. Think about a best-selling book, and they're lionized in our culture. What about the unlucky? Well, what they have to share is unpleasant to hear about. Okay. And they lack the resources often. Why do they lack the resources? Because they're busy in pain, being in pain. They're busy being sick. They're busy trying to survive. So what happens is they get ignored. Why do they get ignored? I'm going to explain that in insight number 10, the thriving strategies thing, but they get ignored because it's unpleasant and because they lack the resources to say what they're saying. They're also pathologized, and this is why we would call them misfits, but I kind of want to reclaim that word because I think misfits are necessary. So the status quo works for the lucky, so they want it to continue. I'm not blaming them. I could say that was me once upon a time. It's still me in many ways. So this isn't, I'm simplifying here, right? But the status quo works for the lucky. They want it to continue. And the opposite, I think, is going to be true for the unlucky if they get more realistic by leaving bad cultural habits like self-criticism, for example, behind. Now, are those people really unlucky? Are you really unlucky if you've experienced some of that stuff? I want to say kind of yes, kind of no, but your life experiences motivates you to change from bad habits. And let's be clear, they're bad on every level, individual, relationships, and planet. Bad, bad, bad. Not all of them, but some of them. Suppose, for example, you turn the habit of self-criticism, all right, into self-compassion, right? And suppose you then bring that compassion, not just to other people, but to other species. Then are you disconnected, alienated, alone? No, you're connected. You're dealing with reality early, often, and skillfully with kindness. So connection is one of the pillars of being human. So the unlucky are motivated by suffering to evolve and grow past the mainstream cultural status quo, which represents such a destructive force. And if you're here to this point in this training, some of you are here to probably just support me, and I thank you. I love you. But the people who are here because they are actually interested in the content, I bet you know the truth of what I'm just saying. And I certainly intellectually, if not in your bones. So this idea of the misfit hero, someone who is a rebel against a culture that doesn't work very well, we need people with alternative points of view in a culture that's dominated by the lucky, that's driving us off a cliff. And the question is how to be a rebel. Our culture doesn't train those skills. Surprise, surprise. The king doesn't train rebels, right? But some skills are coming up. And I just want to say, you have to be very careful. That song, I Fought the Law and the Law Won, that's a song for a reason, because if you fight people with power, they don't have to be particularly smart. They don't have to be better. They just have to have more money and more power. So the people, if you want to be a misfit hero, if you want to be a rebel, you actually have to be smarter. You have to be stronger, more resilient. And there's people who know this.